Hi guys, it's CT Dea and this is UCT. I have two guests with me today.
Alisa.
Karaya.
And yeah, we're going to be talking about LGBTQ and what we go through in the what they go through in the community and also at school. But first, we're going to talk about, the weekend recap. What did you guys do this weekend?
I worked yesterday.
Girl, I worked too. The hell.
I was at breakfast yesterday, and then I just came back from the arcade.
You know what? You be having a good life not working.
Right, you don't be doing nothing.
Yo, work be stressing me out. My weekend was good. Pretty much yesterday I worked. Godly, and worked morning 10 to 4. I actually like working mornings, but I was exhausted. Then I'm going out for my uncle's birthday. And then this weekend I also got 2 new pets. I got Kitten on Tuesday. Monday, Tuesday, 1 to 2. Her name, we didn't name her yet because, she had a name, but we're trying to change it. And then I also got a dog yesterday. His name, I really forgot his name. It's Blitz, yeah. I be forgetting his name because it's too many. It really is. It's too many words. I only had him for like a day. So, you got to warm up to the name.
So whenever you have children, you're going to forget their name and be like, hey, I just named you yesterday, but...
Don't start with it, okay? Don't start with it. Kids. Okay, so the spotlight of the week. I said Ukraine because, as you guys know, Russia is attacking Ukraine. And, I feel bad for them because, Russia, they just been bombing it. Like, what's your guys' opinions about that? Like,
I saw a video this morning of, this lady taking TikToks and how, the grocery stores were and how the lines for gas were, filled up and nobody could get anywhere or do anything and people couldn't really leave. So... it's a lot.
My I don't know if you guys seen that picture or video of them leaving Ukraine to get on the train, and they told black people, the black people to stay, which is weird. Like, my math teacher said, he felt some type of way because he's like, it's still race. I didn't even know it was racist over there, honestly. I didn't think to know that. I just thought it was regular, how we are here, even though not everything is still perfect. There still is some racist people. But I didn't think they would do that. And then also, the airport, with the bombing of the airport, I think that's even worse because it's dang, y'all really not letting these people go nowhere. My thing is, what's the reason of him doing this? And just the fact to know that him and Donald Trump are, friends, yeah. In my head, I was like, yeah, this makes common sense to why he's doing this because, best friends with the ex-president. Let's talk about it. But, Kari, how was your opinion?
I also heard that Russia recently, they just bombed the Holocaust Memorial.
Dang.
Holocaust Memorial site, and they took the whole thing down. I'm feeling like this is very unnecessary. I'm feeling like Putin just wants to be in control, and in that matter, he's also hurting a whole lot of people, and it's just going to get worse if he doesn't chill out.
I also heard, was it Wednesday? When was Makai party? Was it Monday? I think it was Tuesday. Yeah, Tuesday. My mom watched the live cast of Biden talking to Putin, and I guess I heard that pretty much they might have a war with us. He wants to come here and fight us.
I'd rather not.
I want to say it's given. Why are we having a whole world war in the middle of a pandemic? Let me not say it's still a pandemic, but it's not a pandemic. My thing, it's still a pandemic because we're still wearing masks. COVID is still a thing. COVID is not over. But that's why I feel what's the point of fighting when we're going through a whole pandemic with people dying left and right already from a whole natural cause of a disease?
I'm 17. I can't be drafted.
No, speaking of that, I asked because my math teacher, I talk to my math teacher a lot, guys. That's my dude right there. Shout out to Mr. Adele. he talked about it. So he asked one of my classmates named Sam. He was like, hey, do you want to fight in the war? He was like, yeah, I'm ready to go. So I'm like, dang, I forgot. Like, my boyfriend's 20. So, like, what if they asked him to be drafted in the war? I don't got time for that. So, you know, I called them and I was like, hey, are you the one that's going to be drafted in the war? And he goes, no. He goes, no, because he needs glasses. So, you know how in the war, like, you have to have perfect eye vision so you don't have to be drafted. So once he said that, I was like, yes, thank God. He don't
like,
got to go to the war. He was like, I can't see, so I can't go. So I was like, oh, good for you. That's great. You don't got to go to the war.
He don't got 20/20 vision.
Not the exemption anymore.
Oh, it's not the assumption no more? Oh, wow. So he could still get drafted?
You better get on there.
That just hurt my feelings, man. Lord. I'm about to just pray for America at this point.
Tell him
Like,
get a handicap sign. I don't know.
I'm about to just pray for the world at this point. But yeah. So, kind of our spotlight of the week went into our hot topics. So let's just get into the main topic. So, the LGBTQ community is a loosely defined group of lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, LGBT organizations and subcultures united by a common culture and social movements. These communities generally celebrate pride, diversity, individuality, and sexuality. So as you guys know, I am not any of that. I am straight. No offense to that. But I do support the community because, you know, I have family that is definitely part of the community. I have friends that are part of the community. So, you know, I just love them all. You know, I'm just a loving person. I support no matter what. So, I have a few questions for you guys. So, do you notice discrimination? Well, first of all, what do you guys go as? Like, are you guys bi, straight, gay?
Also, you forgot the Q and the plus.
Yeah. Queer. But, yeah.
I am bisexual.
I am pansexual.
Do you want to talk about what pansexual is if people don't know what pansexual is?
Basically, it means I am attracted to people and their gender or sexuality doesn't really matter to me. Like, you're a person to me, it doesn't really matter what you identify as or how you see anything. So,
Lisa, do you want to talk about what bisexuality is?
No.
I mean, you don't have to. I can do it. Bisexuality is when you like both genders. You like boys and girls. And, yeah. So, pretty much, do you notice discrimination at your age of your sexuality? At school, at home? Like, do you just get it anywhere?
I would say not really at school. I feel like at school people really don't care. Like, it's just like, oh, fine, you like who you like. But at home, it's more of like, oh, you're going through this. This is just a phase. You wouldn't know because you haven't done this before. So that's really the difference for me.
like she said, at school everything is okay, but it's different for me at home because I speak to my mom about these kind of things, and she's supportive of me. She doesn't really care. As long as I'm being safe, she says she still loves me regardless, so there's not much of that going on at home. I openly speak to my siblings about this type of thing, so that I make sure that they're comfortable, and I'm also comfortable. So.
Is it hard being a part of that community for your particular race? Like, as being Black African American women, is it hard being, you know, your sexuality as gay, being the part of the LGBTQ community? Is it hard for your race to be part of that community? Like, does it make it even harder for you guys when you walk out into the world and, like, they see you with your spouse or whatever and, you know, they just judge? Is the, like, you know what I mean?
I feel like it's definitely different. Like, there's no, like, specific way for me that is different. But, like, going out with Karaya, it is kind of different because we've went to the mall before. We were holding hands and everything. And there were still people, like, coming up to us and going, oh, can I have your number? Can I talk to you? And doing things like that.
sometimes I feel like people just completely disregard who you are as a person after you tell them your sexuality. I feel like they throw every other thought and emotion they have for you out of the window, and their view of you automatically changes, and that's kind of like the only thing that they can see. So it's different. It's not all terrible, but sometimes it's a lot.
So, I guess I never witnessed it in person, but like I do see like TV shows of like what you guys go through, or like what other people in the world go through, and like how people judge them. Well, technically I would say I would see it too, because like, if I'm in the car with someone or they just laugh and be like, oh, he's gay, or call him a fag or whatever, it does make me feel bad, because it's like, dang, that's their sexuality. Like, you can't like just leave them be. They're like a human being. They're like us. So it's like, why don't, my thing is, I get the world is different. Like, I get religious wise, Christians, they get you're supposed to be with the men, supposed to be woman and man, not man, not woman to woman. But my thing is, like they say in the Bible, God loves all his children, no matter what. So my thing is, I just feel like even if you're a Christian, I feel like you need to not understand, but at least support. I mean, you have a right to what you want to be, but expand your horizons. Be open to these people. Like,
Yes.
be open, because I feel like, honestly, I love me some LGBTQ people. They be lit. Like, definitely. Yes. I want me a gay best friend so bad.
Speaking on that word, we're not going to repeat it, but like I had a whole conversation with my father about using that word, and he was like, this was before I came out, and he was like, oh, there's no reason why I shouldn't be able to say that word. That word doesn't offend anybody, when it offends a lot of people.
Definitely offends a lot of people.
Also, just said.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to offend anybody. It's just what people says. Also, did you guys tell your parents?
I was forced out.
You were forced to tell them that you were?
So I wouldn't really say forced. It's just like, me and Cryo were gonna go to the movies, and before like she even came over, my father was like, oh, don't think you're slick. I know. And it's not like I didn't tell him before. I told him like my freshman year when we were like dating at first, and then we stopped. But like I told him, and he was like, oh no, it's just a phase. And then like now it's like kind of weird, because he's like, every time she comes over, you have to have the door open. She has, like, somebody else has to be here, and it's things like that. So forced out.
My mom basically already knew. She was all in my business before I even knew my business was. And so telling her wasn't that hard. My dad, it was a little bit harder because he wasn't as supportive as my mom at the beginning, but he's good now. And then my grandparents are a whole nother story.
Whole nother story.
I guess after this, we'll talk. But yeah, that's about it.
Yeah, this is my cousin, guys. So when we said grandparents, yeah, they have a sort of story. Do you find it that your parents was or is accepting of it? Like, do you guys feel like your parents are accepting it, or like getting close to accepting it? Family-wise, parents?
I feel like my father's getting kind of close to accepting it. Like, him being odd about it. Like, whenever she comes over, first he used to like talk to her, and now it's just like a hi. So I feel like he's getting there, but not really.
I don't really know. I can't necessarily tell. I feel like sometimes she puts on the front about wanting to speak about it. I feel like she's okay with it as long as I'm not putting it in the open for everybody to hear. Like, as long as it's like a closed doors inside family type thing, she's good.
She's good for it? Okay. Was it hard for you to come out to your family, to your parents? I know for you, you haven't really came out to the whole family yet, so like only certain of us know. So like I kind of don't know why, but I kind of do. Like, do you want to elaborate on why you don't want to come out to the whole family, and what's your feelings about that?
So, My family are really special people. I love all of them. They're usually very open with each other and everybody about certain things, but it's more of a me thing. It's not like a them thing. It's not like I don't want to tell them because they're going to attack me or anything. I feel like it's more of a fear of being who I am without having people try to tell me something different, trying to have people control what I do, who I see, and it's just more like a personal thing that sometimes people just like to keep to themselves. Like, I'll tell them if I get ready or if it ever like comes up in conversation, I'd be more than happy to talk about it. But for now, it's just like a me thing.
Lisa?
I have not came out to my whole family. Basically, it's
So
just
only your dad knows and your stepmom?
my dad, my stepmother, my stepbrother, and like my little cousins who like follow my Instagram, and they're completely fine with it. I just feel like if I do decide to do like my whole family, I'm not saying it would be like uncomfortable for me, but they'll just be odd about it. Like, some of my family really just doesn't like that. When it's weird, when like most of my family on my mother's side is either like studs and things like that, so it's weird.
I get it. Me and my grandparents, like, we got into it one time about it because my dad brought up something about someone, about their sexuality to my grandparents, and they were like, what? And they were surprised, and they were just like, it was a huge argument, and if I took it very offensive because it's like, why does it matter? Like, and they're very religious, very, very religious on being Christians and the whole reading the Bible and man supposed to be with women. But I feel like, and I told them like, yo, like, this is what I'm going to say. The generation is different now. Like, the world changed. I mean, there's some Christians that are, gay. There's some Christians that are, transgender. Like, I mean, they still love God at the end of the day. There's also preachers that are gay. Openly gay, too, at that. But my thing is, I didn't like what they were saying at half of the time. Like, they were like, they wouldn't judge her or whatever. And I'm just like, yeah, but my thing is, I didn't like that they really bashed this one person when knowing that they're very close to us. But we also have cousins we have a cousin that's a dyke. Like, we have cousins that are like gay and stuff like that.
The word.
Sorry. We have cousins that are gay and stuff. So, I take it as it being very mean that you love your niece who is gay, but you want to bash and, be not considerate of the other person. So, like, my mom was like, do you love your niece who's also gay? He was like, yes. My grandfather said yes. And my grandma said yes. Like, my grandma even said, my grandma was like, I'm not judging her. I do love her, but I just want to know why. And then my grandfather said this is just her phase. And I'm like, what if it's not a phase? Like, I hate when family members say to their kids, oh, I know when they know their definite sexuality, and they be like, oh, no, it's just a phase you're going through. Like, it's not a phase. Like, I feel like this generation now knows what they want, are very independent, and knows what they want in the future. So I don't like when they say, oh, it's just a phase. Like, what if the phase is not over? Are you still gonna accept it?
I feel like some people also have to understand that loving and supporting is not the same thing. Because cool, you could love me, I love you too, but you not supporting what I do could also hurt me a lot.
Why is it a diversity? Like, I can't answer that. I feel like I can't. I feel like
because being straight, I guess you could say, is the normal. Like, it's in the Bible. Nobody in the Bible is like, hey, just like everybody says, it's supposed to be Adam and Eve, not Adam and Steve.
But yeah, so pretty much, like you guys said about discrimination, on Google I looked it up, and it says there is a lot of hatred that the LGBTQ community goes through. They face discrimination in almost all aspects of their lives. They are denied access to employment, education, and healthcare. They are targeted for attacks solely because of their gender expression or perceived sexual orientation. About that, about the healthcare part, I actually watch a lot of Grey's Anatomy, Chicago Med, and I saw an episode on Chicago Med when this girl wanted to get surgery, but because she wanted to get what's it called? Her body and surgery. She was a female. She was a male. No, she was a female. She wanted to become a male.
Female.
Go ahead. Let's go ahead and talk about what you don't understand, Adea.
We're getting to that after this. But yeah, she pretty much wanted to, change over. And because she didn't like who she was, and they told her no. They were telling her pretty much she can't because of her age. But I just feel like with that, like, if she wants to change her body part or change anything about her body, she has the right to. Like, you can't. I feel like with doctors or nurses, like, I get it. You have your own opinion. And with that, I feel like your opinion should be on hold. I mean, you have right to say your opinion, but my thing is also give that person the care or the thing that they want. What age do you think is good? At the age I think it's good for them to do that, I feel like at the age of 16. Because at 16, you're technically a young adult. And you're
that's the age of consent.
At that stage, and you're at stage of consent, yes. Even though you're not technically able to drive or drink. So I just feel like at that age.
I'm 17.
So am
I feel like if you're definitely sure about it, then you should be able to make the decision. But if you're like going back and forth, like, oh, I don't know what I want to do, then maybe you should give it some time.
I agree. I feel like I feel like for that decision, you have to definitely know what you want. Like, you can't be on I don't know if I want to be a female, or I don't know if I want to be a male, or I don't know if I want to change this about my body. Like, I think you just have to, I mean, I know it does take a while to understand yourself, but my thing is, I just think for you to make that decision, you have to definitely know what you want. Because if you make that mistake, if you end up be like, hey, I definitely want this, and then you get it, and then you be like, dang, I don't want it, you can't change back time. That's just part of life. Also, can we talk about, I don't know if you guys remember, there on June 12th, 2016, there was a shooting at a nightclub in Orlando, Florida. Omar Matten, a 29-year-old man, killed 49 people and wounded 53 more in a mass shooting at Pulse. That's the nightclub called. Orlando police officers shot and killed him after a 3-hour standoff. And so I remember, actually, I forgot how old I was. I know I remember being home or at school, and I don't know, it just popped up on my YouTube, and I literally just watched it. Like, I watched, not the shooting happen, I just watched the news of what happened, and pretty much they said he didn't like the fact that he didn't like gay people. So he was like, he went to the club and just started aiming fire out of nowhere, and I seen that a lot of people lost people, and I felt so bad. And in my head, I'm like, why this guy has so much hatred for people who really just want to be happy and be free and be who they want to be without, being attacked. Even if their family's not accepted of it, like, they have a right to be happy, and he kind of took that away from them, because some of them probably could have just came out like 3 years ago before this situation happened, and you took that away. Or what if they came out like 3 days before the situation and their parents wasn't accepted, and they were like, hey, I'm just gonna live my life, move out, and be free and be who I want to be with my sexuality. And I just feel like, and I think that's the whole world. Like, I don't like that everyone has hatred on the LGBTQ community, because they don't understand what they go through behind the scenes. Like, some people, parents don't accept, some people get kicked out the house, some people get bashed about it online. But my thing is, I just think we all just need to stop using the word hate, because that's a really hard word and harsh word. And I think we all just not accept, but understand and be accepted for them and be happy for them, because they're being free in their own skin, and being happy for them would be really good. What's your question?
So, since the shooting in Orlando in 2016, have you heard about any other incident similar to that one?
Not really.
So you think back to the one that happened all the way in 2016. Think about how many of those hate crimes that we don't hear about that happen every day. It's not really out in public thing. Certain things in certain communities always get swept under the rug, no matter like what the deal may be. You know what I'm saying? Whether you're an African American person facing prejudice from a white person or from police, or whether you're a minority like Asian people get hate all the time, and nobody really talks about the stuff that goes on. It's not fair.
It's definitely not fair. As you guys know, on June 26, 2015, the U.S. Supreme Court, thanks to President Obama, struck down all state bans on same-sex marriage, legalized in all 50 states, and requires states to honor out-of-state same-sex marriage. So thanks to President Obama, he made gay marriage a thing. He made that it was able for, legal, not a thing. He made it legal for them to be able to get married to whoever they want to be. Because as you guys know, they thought that it wasn't legal back then for a woman to marry a woman, a man to marry a man. It was just, if they did it, I don't know if they would have gotten in trouble for it. I'm not 100% sure. I just know that it wasn't legal in the times for it. And I am happy that President Obama did that. Thank you to him, because now, like, you know, some of my family members or people that I'm close with can be happy and marry the person they want to marry because of this right and how it's legal now. So yeah, thank you guys for coming on. Do you guys have any more questions, comments to say?
She, her. Let's talk about it.
Oh, pronouns. Okay.
Yeah, pronouns.
So as you guys know, this is a very hard topic because
Yes, for you, because you're about to get argued with.
So, as in the world, you guys know pronouns, part of the LGBTQ community, they use pronouns, so it's she, her, she, he, she, all that. And so pretty much I brought up out there, they, them. So I brought up out in the hallway before we started podcasting that my friend, I don't want to say her name because I don't want to put her out there, she didn't do nothing bad. She made a group text in our ECA group text. She texted and said, hey, like, you know, no disrespect to anybody. I just want to know your guys' pronouns just so, you know, I don't, you know, do anything disrespectful. And I mean, I was happy she did that, but I also got mad, not at her, but I think mostly myself, because I feel like pronouns shouldn't, I know, not say matter, but I think for me, I don't use my pronoun because I don't know. I don't get it. Like, that's what I'm saying. I just don't get the pronoun thing.
So when somebody is referring to you and they're not saying your name, what are they referring to you as?
A she.
It's a she.
Your pronouns are she, her. That's not.
I mean, I get it, but my thing is, like, why do I have to tell anybody that, like, it's their business? That's what I mainly mean. Like, even on applications, they ask what your pronouns are, and I'm just like, why does that matter? I mean, I don't know. It's kind of hard for me.
If I don't know, what do I refer to you as? Nothing? Yeah, I can call you it. I can call you an object. Those are not what you refer to a person as. Pronouns are not something you can do. They exist. It's a real thing. It's not something like.
I mean, I feel like now, I mean, back then, that wasn't the thing. I mean, back then on applications, pronouns, they weren't asking your pronouns. And that's why I feel like it's even more hard and confusing for me, because it's like, hey, why now we have to use or say our pronouns when back then we didn't have to do that, even though pronouns was definitely a thing, because I learned that from literally my school, but I felt like I didn't have to say my pronouns out like that. That's why it's like confusing to
Okay,
me.
so I have a question. Do you follow Miss Jackson on TikTok?
No.
No. Okay, so basically they're a makeup influencer, right? They make TikToks and do things like that. What do you think their pronouns would be?
She, her.
Yes. But their gender is completely different. So she, her has nothing to do with your gender.
I mean, I get that.
Well, nothing to do with your
Can
sex.
you explain like what it is that you're solely confused about? Like what?
Like,
Wrap your mind around.
why do we have to use our pronouns? Like, why do we have to tell people our pronouns? That's
Because-
because I
Why
feel
do you
like
have to
back
tell
then,
them,
like,
or why do you have to use them?
why do we have to use them? Because back then we didn't have to. We had to use them. We had to use them back then, but I feel like as much as we use them now.
Okay, so that's
Like,
like
that's what I'm so confused about. That's really what the.
that's like somebody coming up to you and being like, "Oh yeah, Adea, he's really cool." When you know your pronouns are she, her, so you have to let them know that you're a she, her. That's what you're comfortable with.
I think you're overcomplicating it. Like, yes, I feel like you're overcomplicating it. I'm not, because when you refer to your parent, what do you say? You say my mom and my dad, or
My mom,
or
my mom, and my man.
Shut up. You she and her. When you refer to your father, you talk about he, him. It's literally just that simple. If somebody asks you your pronouns, I mean, you're not obligated to tell anyone anything. If you don't want to tell somebody something, that's okay. You
Yeah.
do not have to. Just say
I mean,
that
with
you're not
with her
It's just what you're
texting that,
comfortable with.
with her texting that, I think that's where it made me more like so worried because everyone said it except for me in the group chat, and I took that as like, dang, like was I supposed to say it? Like I don't want to say it, and I think that's what made me so confused because it's like everyone is saying, and if I don't say it, like is that a bad thing?
No.
And like, yeah.
You just should explain that you aren't comfortable stating that fact. It's not like you're withholding information from somebody that they want to know. It's your information. You don't have to tell nobody nothing you don't want to. Just simply stating the fact that I don't feel like I should answer this question, or this is not a question that I'm comfortable answering is even that simple. I mean, they should just leave it alone.
Okay. So I have one more question. For your sexuality, does your teacher, like, who knows? Like, do you have like a lot of friends that know? Like, I know you guys posted on social media that you guys are dating, and you know I do follow you guys. Like, do you guys get people that judge? Do you got people that support you from school?
I mean, being bisexual is always going to be a weirdo. They'd be like, "Oh, you and your girlfriend threesome?" No, not at all.
Especially in our generation.
Like, it's weird, but like, of course, I have people that I could trust. Like, I have certain teachers who I go and I talk to like every day. Like, I have this one teacher that I call my school father. I go in there and I go and I explain some of our situations that happen, and I talk to him about it, and he's like, "Oh, okay, well, I fully support you. Sometimes I just don't understand. So sometimes you do have to explain it to a person."
I surround myself with people that make me feel comfortable and that make me feel loved, so that I don't have to worry about being in a space where I feel unwanted. All of my friends are super supportive. There are a whole bunch of different dynamics in the friend
I'm
group.
supportive. Your cousins are supportive. Put that out there.
So nothing is like really unspoken. If somebody's confused, or if they have a question, or they simply just don't understand, they just ask. It's not like anything that's a big deal.
So my question for you, Krya, are you, like you said, you're not scared to tell Papa and them, but like whenever you are ready to come out to them, like are you ready? Like we know how Papa and Grandma are. Like, you know, they have their opinions. Like that's just their opinion. Like we know, like we're gonna end up arguing, or we're gonna end up just being mad. Like, are you ready for, like, will you think, like, do you know what you're gonna say to them? Like how do you want to go about it? Like, do you want to like just sit them down and be like, hey, I'm this, Or do you like, you know, want to take them out and just like explain to them like, hey, this is me, this is why, da da da, and that's how it's gonna go?
I feel like if they get curious enough, they'll ask, and they'll definitely want to talk about it, and I'm fine with that. But like I said before, I am me regardless of what somebody else thinks. So you can be upset all you want. It can take you a whole year to come around. Whatever, do whatever you have to come to accept the terms. But I'm not gonna change who I am or how I depict myself because you don't like it. You know what I'm saying? So it's either you deal with the information and you support me like how I want you to and how I want you behind my back, or you don't support me and I still do what I want anyway.
So thank you guys for watching or listening, both. There's no announcements, as you guys know. Please go follow us on Instagram at Pod in New Haven, and please listen to our other podcasts from last week or previous week on YouTube, Apple Music, Spotify. And yeah, thank you. Bye.